And yet again, Malayalam cinema has hit it out of the park, and now it's become too common. Hello guys, I'm Nona Prince and today we'll be talking about the latest Malayalam film Kaanekkaane, which is out on SonyLIV, directed by Manu Ashokan, written by Bobby and Sanjay, starring Suraj Venjaramoodu, Tovino Thomas, Aishwarya, Lekshmi and many more. I just recently reviewed Ure with the same director and writers and really liked that film too. Now as I said before, Malayalam cinema continues its dream run this year. Now this film is very fresh, it explores very unique relationships which we may not have even heard about or even considered about. From the start of the film, there is this uneasiness in the atmosphere of the film, which is very well induced by the background music, and right away you know something is up, something is wrong here. And as the movie progresses, little information is given out to us, through which it's easy to predict what really happened and where the story is going. But it's the unraveling of the story that makes it interesting and you are hooked up till the end of the film. There are so many moments in the film where you feel like you know what will happen now, but they subvert your expectations. Everything is very grounded and underplayed. You feel like characters should act in a certain way in this situation, but they wouldn't do that, and that's very surprising and refreshing. Acting is one of the highlights of this film, and without saying much, the whole cast is brilliant in this film. This film has a very complex narrative. There's so much going on in the character's head which is being portrayed on screen. Throughout the film, we keep going back and forth from present to the flashbacks, and you can easily tell that the structure of editing was already planned within the script, because there's a story arc within this intercutting. All the Maya Nadi fans who were scarred by that film, you may get little hope from this film. Now if you haven't seen the movie, stop this video right now, go watch the film and come back, because I'll be going into the spoilers. Also, if you're finding value in the video, do hit the like button so the video reaches to more people. You can subscribing and the bell icon to get notifications. Also, the channel membership is live. You can support the channel by becoming a member. To know more, click on the join button. Now this film actually is a slow burn murder mystery suspense thriller. In some way it may remind you of Arakariam, but in that film the treatment was never of a thriller. But here it is very well treated as a thriller. Now when you get to know the relationship between these characters, it feels weird because it's very unorthodox for us, but definitely there are relationships like this in the world, and I even know some of them. So Suraj is the father-in-law of Tovino, of his ex-wife who died in an accident, and Aishwarya Lakshmi is the second wife and now she's pregnant, and they also have a kid from the first wife. It's complicated. Now as the story go forward, we see Suraj's character is not really accepting of this new relationship. He's very much connected to her daughter, and in some way he feels betrayed, but the real betrayal comes when he gets to know that Tovino and Aishwarya's character were already dating before the first wife died, and from there it becomes a suspense thriller of him finding out what really happened that night. Now there are a lot of scenes in the film where the characters are framed within a small area, as in they are trapped within it, and in the sense of the story they really are trapped. Tovino is trapped in his own guilt. Aishwarya Lakshmi's character feels trapped in this relationship where there is no communication, and Suraj's character is trapped in loneliness as well as in vengeance, knowing the truth now. There are a lot of long takes and close-ups on the characters, and we stay with them. It's like being in their mind, what's really happening, what's affecting them. In an interesting way, it's all about loneliness. We see in a flashback that Aishwarya Lakshmi's character was so lonely and desperate that she was forcing Tovino to get rid of her first wife and marry her. But she didn't mean her to die. And now that she is not lonely, Suraj is left lonely. He doesn't have his daughter, he doesn't have his grandkids, and now he wants to be selfish and get rid of his loneliness. So he wants his grandson to come with him. But in that, he's making the grandson lonely without his parents. You see the complexity in it. Man, the whole cheating thing doesn't end up anywhere. We see what can it lead to. Tovino's character is suffering in guilt. Even his new relationship is suffering. And it is a double-edged sword, right? I have this feeling that, at the first place, if he cheated his wife and then married someone else, what is stopping him to not do that again? How can you trust someone like that? Now it's a separate thing that your marriage is not working and you get separated. Then you find someone and then you marry that person. And again, it may not work and you get separated again. Who am I to judge? But if you got separated because you fell in love with someone else, you had an affair, what is the guarantee that that will not happen again? This is just a thought. There is no right or wrong answers in it. It all depends on situation. It's subjective. And this film delves into that moral ambiguity, which I really love. Like who's right, who's wrong, what should be done in this moment. The characters don't know, and even we don't know. If we were in that situation, what would we do? This film makes you ponder about it. See, it was all about a lapse of judgment. Tovino in that moment didn't know what to do, and he didn't save her. And then he regretted it, and he's still in guilt of that. And that lapse of judgment comes full circle at the end, when Suraj has to decide to save Sneha or not. And even he takes time to ponder about it. But he makes the right decision. He gives up his vengeance. And that happens because even he experienced that lapse of judgment what Tovino went through. And at the end, he chooses humanity. It doesn't matter what has happened, what has been done. I cannot let someone die in my presence. That's the end of the line. You know, in the beginning in the attorney's office, when they're talking about the hit and run case and the guy guilty is asking for forgiveness, Suraj says this line that accident can happen, but to leave a person there dying, that's wrong. That is punishable. And the same thing happens with him. And he lives up to his own words. And it's all about being indecisive. Tovino's character is not clear in his head what he wants to do. If he loves someone else, he should get divorced or be separated, right? But he's indecisive. He doesn't know what to do. And that leads to what really happened. Suraj's daughter would be alive. There's a very interesting scene in the end where Suraj is buying the medicines and he's called by the doctor that comes, something is up. And we don't directly cut to him being with the doctor. No. We see the whole journey from him being at the chemist shop to walking to the lift, then being in the lift and coming out and finally meeting the doctor. And we finally get to know Sneha is alive, she's well, and you have a daughter now. So you know that whole time taken to build the tension, it really works. Now let's talk about the acting, you know. Every character, it's not about the dialogues. It's about acting without the dialogues. So many scenes in the film, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You just have to stay still, just think. That's it. That's the acting you have to do. But how to do it convincingly, the whole cast did an amazing job on that. Suraj was so good. Tovino was so good, you know. He's having a great year. First in Kala, seeing him being an alpha male and here being, you know, such a quiet, vulnerable character. And Aishwarya Lekshmi, man, she's just amazing. And even the kid, yeah, he was so good. So well written. You know, we don't see such wise kid characters in movies where they are not the main characters. And again, you know, the characters are interlinked. It's about a father versus the father versus the father. You know, Suraj fighting for his daughter, Tovino fighting for his son, and then Aishwarya Lakshmi's father fighting for her. And the last scene of the film, when Sneha calls Suraj's character and he picks up and calls her a daughter. You know, finally he has accepted it because he hadn't accepted them yet. And that's what led to him finding out about all the things. See, definitely a wrong thing happened. What Tovino did was wrong. But is punishing him the right thing for everyone else? Because punishing Tovino's character, everyone will be affected. Everyone's life will be harmed. See, definitely can feel like in the film conveniently things happen. It's such a coincidence the situation Tovino faced, same situation came for Suraj at the end. But that's the idea of the film, right? That's what the film is trying to say. What would you do if you were in the same situation? And they reached to this point in the film very organically. At the end of the day, it should feel believable. One very high tension scene is, you know, when Tovino goes to meet Suraj in his hotel and you don't know what will happen there. And then we cut to a scene where they were so friendly and all in the past. And then we come back and then that phone falls and what will happen now. I think that was done very well. The tension was really high. I would say the only one issue I had was the background music. At moments it was just too much, you know, it felt like, am I watching a horror film? I understand it's very important, you know, when there's no dialogues, to use music to, you know, tell what's really happening with the character. You know, when the characters are still and not doing much, and if you change the music, it can change the context of the scene. So I understand that aspect, but sometimes I felt the music was overdone. Through channel membership, you can support this channel and help me continue this journey ahead. And in turn, you get various perks. To know more, click on the join button. For more information, check out the community page. So guys, those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this, hit the thumbs up button, share this video, let me know in the comments your thoughts. If you haven't subscribed yet, check out the videos. If you like them too, do consider subscribing and I'll see you next time.